Hello and welcome back. Today is going to be a review and demo of the L'Oreal Nude Magique Eau de Tint. So you would have seen this in a relatively recent haul. I think it was actually the last one that went up. And I've put this in my weekly makeup basket for the last week, and I have to admit I've absolutely fallen in love with it. I have sort of combination oily skin that tends to break out, unfortunately, but the breakouts have come right down at the minute and I don't have very many, and this has been absolutely lovely. I have the colour 100 Porcelain and it's slightly dark for me, but not so dark that I can't blend it down my neck a wee bit and blend it out so it looks natural. Hopefully now I've figured out how to do a split screen, so you should now see me applying the foundation, and it applies really well. I prefer to use a slightly dirty beauty blender style sponge when applying this. I'm leaning back so you can't see it very well, but I prefer to use a sponge. You can use a brush, and I have tried using the buffing brush from Real Techniques, and if you can actually get away with using a really light hand to apply this, so you just really lightly buff it onto your skin as you would, and it goes on really well with this as well. I just prefer the sponge because I can get in around my nose and in around my eyes and all those sort of creasy bits and whatever else. It's quite a light coverage, but it's really easy to build it up. So I apply it all over my face, and then I will go back and I'll put it onto the areas that have issues. So I've got a spot here and here, and I get redness around my nose, and at the minute I'm getting quite dark around my eyes. So I apply it to the various spotty bits, and I'll just leave it for a wee minute and let it set. Now I remember watching Sharon Varl, and she said with the concealer, for example, if you wanted it sort of slightly more coverage with the concealer and you wanted it to last a wee bit longer, just to put it on, leave it a second, go and do something else and then come back to it. So I do this with this foundation. I put it on, I'll leave it just to sit for a minute, and because it's very runny, I think by leaving it to sit a wee minute it congeals slightly, which sounds a wee bit gross, but then you just blend it out with your beauty blender or whatever it is, and it seems to give a wee bit more coverage if I do it that way. This is incredibly runny, like really runny. It's like water. You have to shake it up a lot, so you probably have seen me in various points in the video giving it a wee shake. Shake it up a lot, and I will warn you now, when you're tipping it out down to your finger, you literally put your finger over the top, tip it out. When you're doing that, make sure your finger is thoroughly over the top. The amount of times I've had little spots of foundation turn up on my clothes, pain in the backside. But yes, it's possibly the thinnest concealer I have thinnest foundation I have ever used, but that's no bad thing because it's really good. So once I've built up to sort of medium coverage, I obviously go in with my other concealers and stuff to cover any blemishes, but I build this up to about a medium coverage, and this lasts me all day. Like, I tend to find with most foundations, including my lovely Revlon Colour Stay and that sort of stuff, that they will break up around this area on my face. So they'll start to sort of, you can see where they separate a wee bit, and the same on some areas on my chin, they will separate that wee bit. You can see your wrinkles and creases and whatever else on your face, and where the makeup will settle into those. I don't get that with this. I've let this sit all day at work, so from about sort of say 7:30 in the morning, no that's a lie, from 7 in the morning until God, about 7 or 8 o'clock at night, you know, that's good sort of 12 hours there. I've let that all day, and I've only ever done my normal where I use a primer, and I've been using my e.l.f. tone correcting powder, which isn't the best setting powder in my opinion. I've used that over the top and it sits absolutely fine, like nothing else I've ever used. So it's very similar to my powder foundations in that sense, that it will stay all day without the creasing, without anything else, and it doesn't break me out. I know I've mentioned I've got a spot there and a spot there, but I think that's due to something else, and to be honest, I don't have any other breakouts in the normal places that I would get from foundation, like around my nose in this area, and more so around my mouth and here. I tend to get, if a foundation doesn't like my skin or my skin doesn't like a foundation, that's where I tend to get the breakouts. Haven't had that with this, and I have used this every single day this week because I used it the first day and absolutely fell in love. Now I think it's still on special offer in our local drugstores, as you say. So Boots and Superdrug is still on the introductory offer, so there's a couple of pounds off it, but it's close to £10 normally, and I do actually think it's worth it because it's so thin. I can see that it will last quite a while. I know the colour match isn't perfect on my skin, but I'm so very light skinned. Very few drugstore foundations are a good match for my skin. For example, most people, and the rest of my face I will show you in a minute, but I've got Raconteur on as a blush, and the amount of people that have said we can't use it as a blush, it has to be as a highlight, it doesn't really show up on my skin. It actually shows up as a lovely blush on my skin, so it goes to show how fair I actually am. But this I really like. It does have SPF 18 and it says it's fresh feel foundation, weightless, bare perfection, and I totally agree. And it lasts so very well, doesn't break me out, as I've said repeatedly. It just is absolutely lovely. I've absolutely fallen for this. I can see that I would be reaching for this quite a bit. I'm aware that the bottle is much smaller, so for example, this is the Revlon Colour Stay Foundation and you get 30ml in this, and this has only 20ml. So, you know, there's 10ml difference. But I think this would probably last longer because you don't need loads of it, and this is thicker. I don't know. I'll let you know how I get on, and if it goes really quickly, I'll let you know. But I don't really care. I really like this. I would love it if it was, you know, if there was a shade lighter again. I would be absolutely delighted because it is that wee touch yellow on my face. But I have to say I really like this. So if you've got drier skin, you could almost get away, I would say, wearing this without a primer, because with me, with a primer, it lasts 12 hours at least. I have to say though, I must say at the very end of my day, well, the last time that I checked it, it was ever so slightly broken around here, but I sort of dabbed with my finger and it was perfect again. It didn't require using a powder to fix it or a brush or anything else. I literally dabbed it with my finger. I was like, oh, sorted, fine, don't need to worry. So if you have drier skin, you could get away with wearing this without any kind of primer. If you have combination oily skin, wear a primer if you normally wear one. Try it without if you have shorter days. I would say this will last quite well. It does obviously appear matte on your skin, so it does turn into that sort of powder finish, but I still like to set this with a powder because old habits die hard, and I don't want to risk my face breaking up halfway through my day. So I would really recommend checking this out. It's not particularly expensive. It's probably at about £6 or £7 at the minute, and it may go up to maybe £9–10. Either way, you're talking a tenner at the very most for this, and I think it's a really good thing. You can obviously, there are samples generally in the store, and you can do a swatch on your face and get the colour match and go and have a walk about outside and check your mirror and see if it's the right colour for you, which is what I did. But yeah, this is really good. I'm absolutely in love. Expect to see this in my monthly favourites. So if you want to see what's in the rest of my face, stay tuned. If you're not interested, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. So the rest of my face, I went over those blemishes with my Collection concealer in Fair. Under my eyes, I went in with my YSL Touche Eclat just underneath because I'm, as I said, quite dark there at the minute. I set my face with my e.l.f. tone correcting powder. I finally hit a wee bit of pan on this, as you can see. Look, a wee tiny dot of pan. For blush, my Raconteur from Benefit. For my eyes, I used my Bare Minerals Primetime Eyelid Primer all over my eyes. And then over the moving part of my lid, I have used my Luck Beauty eyeshadow, single shadow in Khaki. To blend that out, I used a mixture of Naked 2 and Faint from the Basics palette in my crease, and then I used Walk of Shame from my crease up to my eyelid. For, not my eyelid, my eyebrows. For my eyebrows, I used my e.l.f. eyebrow kit in dark blonde, I think, or ash, might be actually. For mascara, my Rimmel Day Tonight mascara. For lipstick, I am wearing my MAC Cream Sheen in Fanfare. It's a nice sort of peachy nude shade. And I went over my face with my Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder in Ethereal Light, unsurprisingly. And oh, I forgot, I set under my eyes with my Well Rested from Bare Minerals. Again, no surprise. So that is it. I set my face with my Urban Decay De-Slick setting spray. And oh, for the primer, my foundation primer, I used my Smashbox Photo Finish Light Oil Free Primer. So that is it. Thank you very, very much for watching. Please like if you like, please subscribe if you like, and I'll see you in my next video.